Pants on Fire by Shawn. The lions had ruled over the animal kingdom for as long as any animal could remember. Whenever the lion kings roared, beast would listen. The lions strolled through the forest and animals fell to their knees. Even the bears quaked at the sight of the lions. Then one dark evening, under a bright shining star, a tiny squirrel named Sammy was born. Sammy and all the young animals loved to hang out together. Buzzy Bee wanted to play bumper cars with her wheelchair. Benny Goodbird was playing jazz on his clarinet. Sammy spent a lot of time with Slinky, Petey, and Johnny. Slinky Snake was usually quiet and watching. Petey Porcupine was as solid as a rock. Johnny Jaguar thought Sammy loved him most, but the fact was, Sammy loved everyone. One day all the animals had played and giggled through breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Suddenly, it sounded as if a rock concert had started. Bobby's belly growled, Betty moaned, Johnny's stomach gurglings kept perfect beat with Bobby's growls. They all sang, "We're hungry!" Sammy had 2 nuts he had been saving for a midnight snack. He gave his friends his snack. Miraculously, the 2 nuts turned into hundreds of nuts. All the animals wondered how the squirrel made 2 nuts into a feast. The next morning, Benny was thinking about the miracle of the nuts. Without warning, ka-plunk! Once again, Benny flew into a tree. His beak became just a little more dented. His eyes filled with tears. He sobbed. Have you ever tried to play a clarinet with a bent beak, a crumpled mumpler, a hobbled hatch? I wish I could see those trees before my beak becomes more scrunched than Pug Dog's face. Sammy gently took his tail and wiped Benny's tears away. He promised him, "One day you will see, and Buzzy Bee will be able to walk. I will heal you. My dad, the maker, sent me to be king." The other animals were listening to Sammy's claims. They burst out laughing and started pointing to him. "Liar, liar, pants on fire." They chanted, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." Leonard Lion viciously taunted, "Hey, Squirrel, no wonder you like nuts. You are nutty, loco, wacky, crazy. The train doesn't stop at the station. The lights aren't on. In fact, your whole cookie has crumbled." Betty and Bobby Bear slowly walked home. Betty did all the talking because her brother Bobby had never said a word to anyone in his whole 4 years of living. He just watched and listened. Betty ran to Pops and threw her arms around him. "Oh, Pops, you should have seen Sammy. He was so kind to Benny Goodbird. He told him that one day he would heal him. Then he wiped his tears away with his tail. Sammy loves everyone, but all the other animals were so mean to him. They kept saying he was a liar and nuts." Pops caressed his daughter's cheek and declared, "Sammy is a good boy, but not king. Perhaps his elevator doesn't go all the way up to the top, but I'll be tickled raw and thrown in ink if he isn't a good boy." Petey Porcupine and the rest of the boys were very upset. Johnny Jaguar told Sammy how the other animals were being nasty to them because they hung out with the nutty squirrel. Sammy gently patted their backs and agreed, "It is hard to be my friend. Other animals will make fun of you. Just love them." Slinky Snake replied, "Sure, that's easy for you to say. You don't have Leonard Lion bopping you with his humongous paws and sneering at you. You need to show him that you are king. Throw him in the dungeon, shackle him, humiliate him, and then pull out his whiskers one by one. Only then will the animals respect you and bow down to you." Sammy declared, "I am here to love, not to rule with a fist of iron. I will show the animals the truth." Slinky was furious. He couldn't believe that his friend was going to stand back and let Leonard spread terror and fear throughout the kingdom. The next evening Leonard and his followers chased the boys into the dark forest. Petey was so nervous he started shooting quills. One sharp porcupine missile just missed Johnny's spotted bottom. "Hey, watch it!" yelped Johnny. "Those spots aren't made for target practice, you know." Sammy pulled out a large flashlight and whispered, "Follow me. I am the way and the light." Slinky mumbled to himself, "Some king. If his batteries die, we'll be in lots of trouble." After getting home safely, all that the boys could talk about was how Sammy was the way. The other animals wanted to be close to him. Sammy giggled and welcomed all the children as his friends. Before long, creatures all over the kingdom were coming to see the squirrel who called himself king. They listened to him tell about his dad, the maker. As if that wasn't confusing enough, he then said that he was going to come back from the land of no return. None of the animals understood, but they knew there was something special about this squirrel. Then, on the day of the lion feast, Sammy asked Buzzy if she wanted to fly. Buzzy gazed at Sammy with tears in her eyes and softly replied, "More than anything." Then Sammy turned to Benny and asked if he wanted to see. "Yes," he chirped. The animals watched in amazement as Sammy touched them both. Buzzy jumped out of her wheelchair and began to soar. Benny did a triple somersault and missed every tree as he proclaimed, "I can see!" Johnny Jaguar told Sammy, "Hop on!" The animals cheered as they strolled past. The crowd started chanting, "Yo, Sam, you're our man!" Betty and Bobby rushed home with the crowd of animals close behind. They met Pops in the front yard and told him about the miracles they saw. Pops declared, "Sammy is such a good boy. His life is a wonderful example for all the young ones in the forest." Softly Betty wondered, "Pops, I'm confused. You say that Sammy is a good boy, yet you don't believe him when he tells us he is king. That would mean he is either a liar, nutty, or he really is king. How could he be a good boy and not be king?" Before Pops could answer, Bobby Bear spoke for the first time ever. All the animals turned so that they could be the first to hear sound come from his lips. With confidence, Bobby Bear stated, "Good boys don't lie." "Well, I'll be rocked and rolled and knocked over with a feather. The boy makes sense," agreed Pops. On the other side of the forest, Slinky Snake was disgusted with Sammy. Kings don't ride on jaguars. They demand respect from the crowd. Slinky was tired of the timid squirrel who didn't deserve to be king. Why didn't Sammy act like royalty? Slinky wanted to be on the winning side, so he went over to the forest where the lions dwelled. "Psst! Leonard, do you want to take that crazy grin off Sammy's face?" Leonard whipped his head around, causing his mane to fling over his eyes. "Crazy grin wiping off is my specialty," he avowed. Slinky told the lions how Sammy had healed Buzzy and Benny on the day of the lion feast. Every animal knew you weren't supposed to work on this day. All of the lions roared with delight because they understood that Sammy was never going to be king. He wasn't even going to be allowed to live in the animal kingdom. Slinky and the lions agreed the snake would kiss Sammy's face when it was safe for them to come and take him. Finally, the next week, Slinky saw his chance. Sammy was busy washing his friend's paws when Slinky kissed his cheek. Suddenly, out of the forest rushed Leonard and his followers. They bored their claws and grabbed Sammy. The kind-hearted squirrel asked, "I have done many things to help animals. What have I done that makes you want to banish me to the land of no return?" Leonard scowled and spit out, "1, you claim your father is the maker. 2, you healed on the day of the lion feast. And 3, no stinking rodent will ever be king. Sammy was found guilty at the lion's court of name-dropping, power-grabbing, illegal healing, and being a liar, liar, pants on fire. Leonard viciously snatched Sammy by the tail and flung him to the land of no return. Petey and Johnny ran away. They were terrified that the lions would turn on them. For 3 days the animals grieved. Their whiskers drooped from tear water. Their tails were at half-mast. On the 3rd day, Betty noticed a small animal dancing in the distance. As he approached, she recognized Sammy and knew he had kept his word. The son of Squirrel was the only animal to ever come back from the land of no return. This was the sign they had been waiting to see. Sammy had come to rule his kingdom. Betty ran as fast as she could to tell the good news to all who would listen. Sammy was king. He was all he claimed to be. Petey and Johnny knelt before the king. "King Samuel," they both said at once. The king looked at his dear friends and giggled. "Aw, gee, it's just me, your friend Sammy." "Yes, mighty, magnificent, majestic king friend Sammy," the boys proclaimed. "Well, I'll be dang-fangled. Just roll me in honey. He is the king," sputtered Pops. Betty Bear's eyes grew larger. Her heart started beating faster. She stated, "I knew he was the king. He isn't nutty, and he is not a liar, liar, pants on fire. Sammy has always been what he claimed to be." Tugging on Pop's hand, Bobby said, "Of course he isn't a liar. He doesn't even wear pants." Own your personal copy of Pants on Fire by Shawn Jones. ShawnsBooks.com.